Hello, I want to share with you my recent experience of traveling from California, the US, to Canada, to Calgary, Alberta, with three little children, a 5-year-old, a 2-year-old, and a 1-year-old by myself. I needed to attend a wedding here. It's my brother, so it was very important that I make it here. The border got closed on June 29th, 2020 this year. So they were not allowing any US citizens to cross. So I was able to come in because I was Canadian. My two out of my three kids have a dual citizenship and a passport. So I was able to book a flight to come in. This all sounds dandy, but the process was a nightmare. For one thing, I was trying to renew one of my kids' passport. It was a US passport. He was 5. I applied in for renewal in March. That did not arrive until after I arrived to Canada. July 25th it arrived. So it took that long. And every time I called regarding it, they said no. So I ended up having to do a rush Canadian passport for him because he's a dual citizen. That took 3 days, but a lot of money, and several trips to the consulate in LA. Well, the trip to Calgary was an interesting one. I normally book a direct flight either from LAX or Palm Springs, or sometimes I would go the night before to San Francisco and then leave from San Francisco to Calgary. So I was lucky enough to be on a flight, that direct flight from LAX to Calgary for July 23rd. However, a week before that flight, or 10 days before, I get an email saying it was changed. Delta was no longer offering that flight, and they rerouted me with WestJet, and it was a flight going from LAX to Vancouver, Canada, from Vancouver to Calgary. I a little bit panicked because I'm traveling alone with 3 children. And there's a reason for that I could not get anybody to come with me, and that was the quarantine. Anybody who was to come with me on the flight couldn't just take another flight the next day and go back because of the quarantine. They have to, once you arrive to Canada, you have to be isolated for 14 days. So that was that. I looked up in every single airline to see if I could get another flight that was direct. I looked at Palm Springs, Ontario Airport, all of Santa Ana's, anything in Southern California, even San Francisco. There was not a single direct flight. They all stopped in 1 or 2 places. So I guess my flight was the best one to stop only in Vancouver. Originally, I was panicking because I thought once I'm in Vancouver, not only have to do custom with 3 children, but I had to get my baggage from the terminal, international, and take it to the local terminal. The good thing about it, my flight was all operated by the same airline, WestJet. So I did not have to physically remove my bags, because that was my initial stress, is I'm going along with 3 little kids, 5, 2, and 1, and I have to pick up 2 luggage, and I have to walk across Vancouver airport. It's huge, and I literally have to leave one terminal to go to the other. So that was a good thing. So having the same flight with the same airline will save you from picking up luggage if you're traveling internationally. So that was a bonus. Things to speed up the process. If you're there, download the app 3 days before you travel called Arrive CAN, Arrive Can. You could enter all your information for you and every single traveler on it 24 hours before you log in, and then you could put in your symptoms to make sure you don't have any COVID symptoms. So that saves a process. Make sure you do not take a screenshot after you're done, because it will reset the whole app. So just fill it out, and it will have a timer and a code. Keep it going. Close the app and it's fine, and keep it going, because once you get to custom, if you just show them that app with the number, then you do not need to fill up any of the custom forms. Otherwise, which was my mistake because I took a screenshot of it, I end up filling all custom forms for all 4 of us. So each child, no matter how old they are, they need a custom form. That was a little time consuming, considering I had 3 little kids running around. The custom officers were really sweet because there was nobody at customs. My flights were empty. empty on a Thursday. You'll see in the video. I had maybe 14 to 15 people in the first flight, maybe 20 in the second flight. They were very well spaced out. Every 3-4 rows, somebody was sitting. I got the whole row because I had a family. Once you get on the flight, they give you sanitizer wipes to wipe down your chairs. Throughout the flight, they keep passing by, making sure there's no garbage. They hand you water and some packaged cookies. That's about it. If you need more sanitizer wipes, they'll provide it for you. The only requirement is you have to keep your mask on the flights, except if you're 2 and under. My daughter is 2 years old. I had a mask for her originally, but she just couldn't keep it on. The first flight, the air stewardess, she was not very happy about it. I'm like, she's 2, she's really not keeping it on. I'm sorry. She goes, well, ma'am, you can get banned from the next flight. The second flight, the stewardess was a little bit more understanding. I guess she has kids, because she said to me, she's 2, it's fine, the law says 2 and under. My 1-year-old definitely could not keep a mask on. So that was the only struggle I had for the kids to keep a mask on. I frequently had sanitizers with me to clean their hands, wash their hands, make sure not to touch anything. Before they sat on the chairs, I cleaned everything. I did not feel unsafe. The airports are empty. I traveled from LAX, a very big international airport, and then I traveled to Vancouver, another huge international airport, empty. So it was so easy to go through security. It was so easy to go through customs. There was nobody, no lines. There was not even any restaurants open, maybe 1 or 2. I stopped at Tim Hortons when I arrived to Vancouver because we were hungry, and we had a sandwich in LAX from a sandwich shop. So, but I had a bunch of snacks with me. My carry-on, if you see, was big. I even had a change of clothes. I was thinking I could change their clothes after the airport, so it'll be even cleaner when we get to the airport, home. The things I want to know at custom. Not only that you have to be Canadian, because if you're not, you're going to get sent back. If my husband would have come with me, who's a U.S. citizen, would have been able to if he's with me. Because I am the Canadian citizen, our children are Canadian citizens, so he's okay. But for someone to come on their own as a U.S. citizen, it would have not been okay. That's one thing. The other thing is, once we got to Canada, the customs, they want to know where I'm staying. I cannot be with anybody over the age of 65. I cannot be in a group living or a home living situation. And the people I'm staying with, if they choose to quarantine with me, they have to have less than 65 years old and no medical conditions, underlying medical conditions like diabetes or hypertension or cancers or anything like that that will impact them. Luckily, I didn't have to deal with that. My parents blessed me with their home, and they moved to a separate floor in the house where it has its own entrance. It's a basement and has its own kitchenette and bathroom and everything. So I had a whole house with a backyard. I was blessed, which is another story you can watch. It's my quarantine life. This is day 13 today. So I have 2 more days and I'm a free woman. Hence I have time to do this. So basically, yes, you're going to watch a video. You're going to watch all the stuff that's happened to me through it all. I hope you enjoy it. If you have any questions, let me know. I would love to answer them. I went through a lot to get here. Then once you get here, we got into a car by ourselves. Nobody helped me with the luggage, nothing. I got home. I had to unload my kids, shower them. I literally changed them in the garage so they don't bring anything with them. I unloaded my bags in the garage and I sanitized the bags and everything. And then I stayed for 14 days. The Canadian security did called multiple times, 7 to be exact. They even called me at the halfway point, was the last time I received a call from them, day 7, asking me to stay home another 7 days, because it's just as important to been home for 7 days to stay home another 7 days, which is fine, but it's really difficult. With 3 children, no help, it's really difficult. But they call individually asking for that person. They call to speak to Timothy, who is 1 year old. And I said, he's a baby. And they're like, oh, I'm sorry. So they spoke to me regarding he has to be isolated. You're not interacting with anybody older. Are we safe? Are we getting fresh air? They actually cared. They want to make sure we are taken care of at the same time, like we are not affecting anybody else. So that was the situation with the quarantine. And then what else I wanted to tell you? Basically that 14 days access, nobody over 65. That's pretty much it. The experience was not like no other because the airport was so sad. I've traveled so many times and I think this is by far the saddest, but it was safe. I didn't really feel unsafe. I traveled with children and it was fine. It was just more exhausting because nobody could come with me. My husband couldn't just fly. He couldn't take 2 weeks of his life to stop work and everything to be home, because the minimum you could come to Canada for is 15 days during the pandemic. 15 days, because they want you to quarantine for 14 days to be able to take another flight to go back. So he couldn't do that. I couldn't even get the nanny to come because the same situation. So that's put a little kink in my travel, and it was really, really difficult. Well, enjoy the video. It was a crazy time. I'm sorry about the taping. I am not a professional videographer or anything. Not even a blogger. I just wanted to share this because when I was trying to figure out how to come here, I really did not find anything regarding traveling from the US to Canada. And I wanted to share that with you. Okay? Have fun.